Hi guys, and welcome to this instructional video on what you need to be thinking about when it comes to setting your reserve. Now before we get going, let's just clarify exactly what a reserve is. A reserve is the figure that you will write on the authority with the listing agent that you are prepared to sell the property for, so that if we get to auction and the property auction gets to that reserve or goes beyond that reserve, you are giving your listing agent the right to sell the property via public auction. So basically it is that comfort blanket where you are saying at this level we are more than happy to say that property is on the market and we are prepared to sign the contract today. Now, when it comes to setting reserve, you've got a couple of things that you need to bear in mind before you go setting any figures. Firstly, and obviously it is incredibly important, this part, it is the figure that you originally set out to achieve before you started the campaign. Ultimately guys, selling your property is only a vehicle to achieve something greater in your life. So we need to make sure that we pay attention to what your initial goal was in the first place. As well as that, when we get to the market and we actually go on and the campaign gets underway, we have to pay attention to the thing that dictates everything to all of us, and that is the market itself. Whether it's you guys as vendors, ourselves as auctioneers, or the listing agents, ultimately we can want whatever figure we want, but it is the market that will determine how much your property is worth today. So we need to pay attention to as much buyer feedback as we can possibly get our hands on. You will get some buyer feedback that is way below what we're expecting, and your listing agent will tell you not to be too concerned with some of that feedback at the bottom end. There will be a portion of that buyer feedback that will be sitting in a very tight range, generally speaking, that will give you an idea and will help you to paint a picture as to what the market is prepared to pay from a logical point of view. Now that little range there is what you need to pay particular attention to, because the whole point of an auction is to take buyers from that logical price level to beyond there into an emotional price level that allows us to actually book the market trends. So when you're setting your reserve, you've got to think strategy, because ultimately we need to create that competition, and that only comes through fear of loss. How does that work? By saying that we're on the market, it will actually make the buyers realize that if they don't end up being the last person to put up their hand, they are going to miss out on the property. So it's a very, very powerful thing, and that is the whole point of going to auction with your property. So when we look at setting our reserves, we need to think strategically. Generally speaking, I always encourage our vendors to set a 3-tier reserve. A plan A, plan B, and a plan C. Plan A is that absolute dream figure that you guys are more than happy to sell the property for. We don't need to come in and refer to you. If we hit that figure or go beyond, we can just crack on and get the property sold. If we have to refer to you though, you need to think about what that amber figure, what that plan B is going to be. Why? Because if we've not quite reached your reserve, but we've got enough competition there, or we've got enough competition left in the tank to suggest that we're going to be able to get those buyers into an emotional value, then it's well worth thinking strategically and going on the market slightly earlier in order to create that ultimate fear of loss. Now plan C, and this is the red line figure that none of us want to really deal with, that is the absolute bottom figure that you can even remotely consider putting the property on the market at, or even selling at all. At the end of the day, guys, we always need to have that fallback position that allows us to even remotely think that the dream or whatever it is that we want to achieve is still possible in today's marketplace. So when you think and when you talk to your listing agent, to your partner, to your spouse, to whoever has an interest in the property sale itself, you need to make sure that you think strategically. Because after all, guys, it's all about ultimate fear of loss. And in a marketplace, whether it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, or a market of equality, The best deals always come through a small degree of compromise. That is the only way to progress yourselves to whatever it is that you want to achieve. So think about your plan A, your plan B, and your plan C when it comes to setting that reserve. Pay attention to what it was that you originally wanted to achieve, and pay attention to the marketplace, because ultimately we all have to answer to the market. I hope that helps to paint a picture, guys, and gives you that sense of control. Any questions, give your listing agent a call, or feel free to get our number from the listing agent, and we'll be more than happy to communicate with you ourselves. But for now, I want to wish you all the very best for your auction. Think about your reserve, think strategically, and I hope the hammer falls for you all.